My name is David. I live in a quiet cul-de-sac just outside of Columbus. It's the kind of neighborhood where nothing ever happens. At least that's what I thought. It was a Tuesday night around 2:45 a.m. I was sound asleep when the familiar chime of my phone went off. Motion detected at front door. Usually it's a moth or maybe the neighbor's cat. I almost ignored it, but there was a strange weight in the air that night. A silence so thick it felt like the house was holding its breath. I reached for my phone, the blue light stinging my eyes, and opened the app. The night vision was grainy and washed out in that ghostly gray and white. At first I didn't see anything, just my porch, the empty wicker chair, and the darkness of the street beyond. I was about to close the app when I noticed it. A pixelated shape, standing just at the edge of the light's reach. A man. He was wearing what looked like a perfectly tailored dark suit. He stood with his hands at his side. But what made my stomach drop wasn't just his presence, it was his face. He was staring directly into the lens. His eyes were wide, wider than any human eyes should be, and they didn't blink. Not once. My heart hammering against my ribs, I watched the live feed for what felt like an eternity. 10 minutes passed, then 20. He didn't move. He didn't shift his weight. He didn't even seem to be breathing. He was just there, like a statue. I started to panic. I thought about calling the police, but what would I say? There's a man standing on my porch doing nothing? I decided to try the two-way talk feature. My hands were shaking so hard I nearly dropped the phone. I pressed the microphone icon.
Can I help you?
My voice echoed through the porch speaker, sounding thin and fragile in the night air. The man didn't react. He didn't flinch at the sound of my voice. He just kept that wide, unblinking stare fixed on the camera. It was as if he wasn't looking at the camera but through it, straight at me, sitting in my bed. I felt a cold sweat break out on my forehead. I checked the other cameras. The backyard, empty. The side gate, locked. I went back to the front door feed. He was still there, but he had moved. Only a few inches, but he was closer now. His face filled the center of the screen. I could see the texture of his skin. It looked like dry parchment stretched too tight over a skull. And those eyes, they were completely black. Just two bottomless pits reflecting the infrared light of the camera. Suddenly the feed glitched. A burst of digital static tore across the screen. When it cleared a second later, the man was gone. My porch was empty. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. I told myself it was some kind of elaborate prank, or maybe even a hallucination brought on by exhaustion. But then, I heard it, the sound of my front door deadbolt sliding open. I froze. I live alone. I had locked that door myself 3 hours earlier. I looked back at the phone. The Ring app was still open, but the live light wasn't on. The camera hadn't triggered. I crawled out of bed, grabbing the heavy glass lamp from my nightstand as the only weapon I had. I crept into the hallway, the floorboards groaning under my feet. The house was silent again, but the air felt freezing, as if the heat had been sucked out of the room. I reached the top of the stairs and looked down into the foyer. The front door was standing wide open. The streetlights outside cast a long, rectangular shadow across the hardwood floor. And standing right in the middle of that shadow was him. He wasn't staring at the camera anymore. He was looking up the stairs, directly at me, and for the first time, he smiled. It wasn't a human smile. His mouth opened far too wide, revealing rows of small needle-like teeth that shimmered in the dark. I don't remember much after that. I remember screaming. I remember running into my bathroom and locking the door. I remember the sound of slow, heavy footsteps walking across my bedroom floor, stopping right outside the bathroom door, and then silence. When the sun came up, the police found no sign of forced entry. My front door was closed and locked. The Ring footage from that night deleted. Every single clip from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. was gone, as if they had never existed. I moved out the next week. I don't care about the deposit. I don't care about the neighborhood. Because sometimes when I'm lying in my new apartment, I get a notification on my phone. Motion detected at front door. I never check it. I just bury my head under the covers and pray that whatever was on that porch hasn't found me yet.